In this leader's guide, we will learn how to teach the snowball and reverse figure marching movements. Step 1. Line up the squad and explain the movements you're about to teach. Step 2. Remind the squad of the marching instructions to take note of when performing the movements. Tell the squad there are 3 things they will need to remember in this movement. Firstly, when forming pairs in the center, squad members should march on the spot until their partner reaches the center before moving off together. Secondly, when forming quartets, a line of 4 people, they should march on the spot until the other pair reaches the center before moving off as a quartet. Thirdly, there will be an officer at the end of the court who will guide the squad members using their hand signals to direct them on where to turn. There will also be another officer on the opposite end of the court whose role is to ensure that the pairs or quartets arrive together in the center before moving off. Step 3. Order the squad members based on experience or any other preferred method. Step 4. Get the squad to walk through the movement routine, directing and guiding the squad. You will need to have 2 main leaders who will direct the squad on court. You can have additional leaders to assist in correcting mistakes by roaming around the field. Leader 1 will be stationed on one end of the court, while Leader 2 will be stationed on the other end of the court. When squad members approach Leader 1 will alternate pointing to the right and left, indicating the turning directions for the squad members while saying right and left accordingly. Leader 2 on the other side will ensure squad members form up in pairs. Leader 1 will then use 2 hands to point at the marching pair approaching them and alternate pointing right and left with both hands to direct each pair's turning direction. Leader 2 will guide the pairs to form a quartet, in this case a line of 4 people. Leader 1 will then have their hands together to split the quartet back into pairs and say the word split. Leader 2 will guide each pair to get back into the center. Leader 1 will have their hands together to say split. The outcome will result in the pairs going back to their left and right single file. Leader 2 will guide each single file to form back into the center single file. Leader 1 will direct the squad to halt. Step 5. Leaders may provide feedback on improvements to the squad before getting them to practice the march again. Step 6. Demonstrate the proper turning in pairs and quartets and emphasize to the squad to avoid cutting corners and repeat the march practice again. In single file, you turn sharply. When splitting at the end, in pairs, on the T marker and quarter marker, the closest squad member to the hole takes smaller steps, while the outer squad member furthest from the hole takes normal steps wheeling around the markers. The squad member closest to the hole will be marching on the boundary of the court, while the outer squad member will be marching outside the court. When in pairs forming into quartets, the closest squad member to the hole takes small steps, while the outer squad member takes their normal steps to form in a line of 4 together. It is worth noting turning in pairs should be as smooth as possible. Step 7. Demonstrate the distance and alignment when in single file, pairs and quartets. In single file, maintain 1 arm's length or 1 step distance from the person in front and behind you. In pairs, keep a distance of 2 arms length or 2 steps from the person in front and behind you. In quartets, maintain a distance of 4 arms length or 4 steps from the person in front of you and behind you. During the march, in 2 single files, ensure both the left and right hand files are aligned with each other. In pairs, the left pair and right pair should be aligned with each other. In quartets, align with the squad member furthest to the left. When transitioning from quartets to pairs, the first pair on the right side speeds up to arrive at the center first. The second pair on the left side slightly slows down to allow the first pair to arrive. The third pair on the right side slightly speeds up to arrive next. The fourth pair on the left side is the last to arrive to the center. When transitioning from pairs back to single file, the first squad member adjusts their speed to arrive back to the center first. The second squad member adjusts their pace to let the first squad member arrive in front of them. The same applies to the third, fourth, 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th squad members. Each adjusts their pace to allow the previous squad member to arrive in front of them. Step 8. Introduce 120 beats per minute metronome for marching practice. Step 9. Introduce marching track for marching practice. And that concludes the Leader's Guide for teaching the snowball and reverse figure marching movements.